Hello listeners, I'm your host Rahul Sethi. I welcome you all to our next episode of Edelweiss Fin Talk. Here we will discuss popular topics on finance. For this episode, we'll be discussing about how to build an equity mutual fund portfolio. I would like to welcome once again Sailesh Multani, who is a qualified chartered accountant and specializes in personal finance and financial planning. Sailesh, welcome once again. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Rahul. Thank you for inviting me again to FinTalk.
Good to have you here again. So Sailesh, how should one build one's investment portfolio?
The ideal way to build any portfolio is to link it to an investment goal or an investment objective. For example, one may want to build a portfolio for a child's education or marriage or retirement. It could even be for buying a car, or if you're planning a trip abroad. You need to accumulate funds and you need to build an investment portfolio for that. The time to goal will vary, and hence the risk profile will also differ.
Okay.
So what happens is these two factors impact the choice of investment instruments that will be used, or the investment products that you will pick up for the portfolio.
Okay, got it. And what are the guiding principles one should consider for building an equity mutual fund portfolio?
So the traditional wisdom says don't put all your eggs in one basket. What it simply means is that if you have an investment amount, you should divide it between equity and debt based on your risk appetite and time horizon. Now, when you pick up a equity fund, there are 2 to 3 things that you need to keep in mind.
Sure.
The first is your choice of fund should be a diversified equity fund.
Okay.
It means a diversified equity funds have the permission or the mandate to invest across sectors. So the fund manager can pick up stocks from sectors where he thinks there is a lot of potential in the future.
Okay.
And the next thing to keep in mind is to always pick up a mutual fund which has a proven and a consistent track record. The third is when you build a portfolio, you pick up funds from across fund houses. You don't concentrate your portfolio in one mutual fund house. This way you will diversify your risk further.
Okay, got it. So when you say diversified fund, so does this mean that mid cap, large cap, small cap, so this fund has leverage to go across companies in terms of the sectors?
So when you invest in an equity fund, every fund has got a mandate. Okay, so the mandate can be investing across sectors, and it can be investing across stocks regardless of the market cap. Or the fund can have a mandate only to invest in a large cap or a mid cap or a combination of large mid or a combination of large mid and small, which is known as a multi-cap fund.
Okay. So Sailesh, how many funds should one hold in a portfolio?
So in my opinion, one should have a minimum of 4 funds in the portfolio. So that way a single fund will not have more than 25% allocation, and with an upper limit of 7 funds. So when you diversify, you don't go beyond a particular point, because I've seen people having portfolios with 20, 30, 40 mutual funds. They do it primarily to diversify their portfolio to reduce the risk, but diversification beyond a particular point will defeat the whole purpose.
Yeah.
And also don't forget that the investment portfolio that you have has to be monitored regularly and has to be reviewed frequently. So the more funds you have, it will hamper the whole monitoring and review process.
Yeah. So you should restrict between 4 and 7.
Yes, 4 and 7.
Okay. And coming back to my earlier question, so just want to understand, when we talk about diversification, how about diversification across large cap, mid cap, small cap funds? Do you think it helps in generating better returns?
Now, large cap, mid cap and small cap, all these funds have the definite role to play in the portfolio. In terms of returns, mid and small caps have a much larger potential to give you returns compared to large cap funds. In terms of risk, large caps are relatively less riskier than a mid and small cap funds. So the choice of how many large cap funds or a mid cap or small cap fund will be there in a portfolio will depend upon the investor's time horizon and risk appetite. So ideally one could have 2 large cap funds, 2 mid cap funds and one or 2 small cap funds. But again, like I said, the choice of funds and the number of funds will depend upon the time horizon and the risk appetite.
Profile. And do you believe in the concept of a perfect mutual fund portfolio?
There is nothing like a perfect mutual fund portfolio, because when we talk of investment, there is no one size that fits all. The investor risk profile, investment horizon will vary. Okay, and accordingly the portfolio will also change. So there is nothing like a perfect mutual fund or a mutual fund portfolio.
Okay. So Sailesh, tell us, should one invest via SIP route or lump sum? How is that call should be taken?
So both SIP and lump sum are the proven ways of investing in mutual funds. People who have a regular cash flows can choose to invest via the SIP mode. But if somebody has a lump sum, they can also invest lump sum, but the lump sum needs to be staggered. It can be invested in 3 or 4 parts. So, not, at the risk of timing the market, but as and when there is a small dip in the market,
Sure.
a lump sum can be invested. But
So
in
it
3 or
average
4
out
phases,
your purchase
it will
price.
average out the purchase price.
And you mentioned about reviewing the portfolio. What is the right frequency?
So reviewing the portfolio is very important. It is one of the most important things because we all invest, but we never sit down with our investment advisor and review the portfolio. Once every 6 months or annually, a review should be done to ensure that the fund is performing as per the expectation and is on track to deliver the expected returns.
Okay, got it. And do you have any last minute advice for our listeners?
So I have always believed that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. It also applies to investment. So one should keep investment portfolio very simple. Above all, have patience, faith and discipline in investments. I am sure your wealth will grow. I would like to wish all the listeners happy investing.
Thanks a lot, Sailesh, for a very insightful discussion. I'm sure our listeners will, pick up a lot of new things about investments via this talk. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Rahul.
Thank you guys for patient listening. So here we come to an end for this podcast. Stay tuned. We have some interesting topics coming in the subsequent weeks, and we look forward to your feedback. You can suggest topics and we'll try and cover them in the next episodes. Thanks a lot.
The details and investment tips expressed by the expert in the podcast are his personal views. We advise you all to check with your certified financial advisors before taking any investment decisions. Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.